All right, we be live. Hello, everybody. I am Armin Navobi, and we are on Atheist Republic YouTube channel. I know a lot of you watch this on other places, especially on Twitter, but we would like you to hop over on YouTube instead. Okay, Atheist Republic. Go search Atheist Republic on YouTube and subscribe there. And whoever's watching this on YouTube, make sure you like this video because I know I'm using this really heated debate here. Let me put this up here as an excuse, but it's just an excuse because in between all of the back and forth that you're going to hear today, there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to be adding to it that is going to be extremely educational to you guys. You're going to get some data that you might not get in other places. So let's just jump right into the debate. But guys, in the live chat, I see already people are in the live chat, so thank you for being here. Make sure you like the stream. Dolly is here highlighting your comments. So here, this is the advantage of being on the YouTube live stream instead of the Twitter live stream. So come from Twitter, come to Atheist Republic on YouTube, is that your comments will now be part of the stream, and people are confirming that they like the stream. Thank you. And by the way, Dolly, thank you so much for being here and highlighting people's comments so that their comments could also be part of the stream. Anyways, let's get into this debate right away because I want to make sure we get to all of it. Let me see at what point this gets started. At 11, 47 or something. Yes. Okay, so the first part, which is the Crown Prince of, Iran, Reza Pahlavi. I'm not going to do this on the English side. I'm going to do the first part on the Persian show, right? Because I think that's going to be better over there. But the second part, I'm going to do it on the English channel. So yeah, like starting from here.
Well, I'll go down to my panel to debate.
Oh, for the people who are new here, Atheist Republic has an English channel, which is called Atheist Republic, and a Persian channel for Iranians, mostly Iranians, which is called Jumhuriye Bi Khodayan, which means Atheist Republic in Persian. So after I do my English shows in a few hours, I'm going to hop over and do my Persian show. So, and that's what, on the Persian show, we're going to do this first 11 minutes. But this is the part that we're going to do for the English channel.
Well, I'll go down to my panel to debate this, Cenk Uygur, Joe Walsh and Emily Schrader. Let me start with you, Joe Walsh, because you were giving me a bit of hammer on X, formerly Twitter, yesterday, because I tweeted in reaction to what had happened that I wanted Israel to show restraint, and I feared that Netanyahu wouldn't do that. Now, just to clarify what I meant, I didn't mean there should be no response. I just wanted that response not to be just going all guns blazing into Iran, because I genuinely fear that might accelerate this.
It's really insane to ask restraint from a country that is being attacked with 300 drones and missiles. Doesn't that sound kind of like that you're missing something? Like, do you think other countries will be asked to show restraint while they're being attacked by another nation state, by another government? It's bizarre. Like, your country, and especially a country, I think any other country, if they were asked to show restraint after they were attacked in such a way by another country, they will respond to go, F yourselves. Like, what the hell are you talking about? We were just attacked. So I think it's insensitive to ask any country. I mean, yeah, every country should find reasonable measures to defend itself and advertise its deterring capabilities. But I think it shows some level of extreme bias when you are asking that from any country while they're being attacked. That doesn't seem like the right time to mention that. Also, but it's especially insensitive asking that from Israel, because again, I like to remind people here and everywhere I go, when other countries get attacked, it's devastating because their border integrity and the security of their citizens are being challenged. But when it comes to Israel, when Israel is being attacked, it's not just its border integrity or the security of its people that are being challenged. It's the entirety of their country. It's their existence. It's whether they get to remain a country or not a country. That is what is being challenged. So for such a country to be surrounded by so many enemies, hundreds of millions of people who would like to get 5 minutes of their way with the Jew, and like that's their dream. One of their dreams in their life is for them to be able to get their hands on a Jew at some point. It's the wet dream of hundreds of millions of people surrounding Israel for Israel to end one day, right? So for such a country in such a harsh neighborhood, while being attacked by a nation like this hasn't happened to Israel for a very long time. Israel has been attacked by militias a lot, like Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Kataib Hezbollah, all these other Islamic Jihad, all these other proxies of the Iranian regime. But it has been a minute or so since they have been attacked by an actual the army of an actual country. This has been like many young Israelis have not witnessed this. Only their parents and their grandparents have witnessed such a thing. So it brings back memories of those days that we wondered if Israel gets to remain a country. So given those realities, given that Israel is basically trying to, I don't know, exist, asking Israel to show restraint at such a time, it just seems like you don't, read the room, kind of like. Oh, by the way, we did get oh, no. Dolly is asking everybody to make sure they like the stream. And we did get a super chat early in the stream. I don't know why it wasn't started, but it was from Leave something. I can't pronounce that last name, but I think it was from Sweden. So thank you to whoever that person is, and thank you for the support. Oh, let me actually check if we're demonetized yet. I didn't say any bad words. Remember, I said F, but I didn't actually mention the word. Oh, we're still monetized. This is surprising. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This is great. Okay, so far I haven't said any naughty words. So far we're still monetized. That's good. That's a good sign. Let's continue.
Into a much more catastrophic situation. But you feel very strongly, don't you?
Okay, so Piers Morgan is saying that Israel should show restraint so that we don't go into a catastrophic situation. Here's the thing. If Israel doesn't respond and doesn't respond strong, that gets us to a catastrophic situation. You know why? That Israel needs to respond and respond strongly to the Iranian regime? Because if you don't, you're encouraging that behavior. You're basically saying that, hey, let's just allow countries to throw missiles at us. I mean, the Biden administration contacted Israel, contacted Netanyahu, and they were like, hey, you guys managed to stop all the missiles and all the drones. I mean, you didn't have, 99% of them, and you didn't have any casualties. That's a win already. You don't need to respond. That's a win already. How is that a win already? If you are saying that I defeated you simply because I defended myself very effectively, that means you're signaling to your enemies that you get to try again. That doesn't make any sense because there's no consequences to them. Your defense mechanism should be advertising your deterrent capabilities, not just neutralizing the attack. Neutralizing the attack is only the first part. The second part is reaction so that your enemy doesn't try this again. If you neutralize an attack and then don't respond, your enemy was like, okay, then we could try this as many times as we want because they're not going to respond. That's insane. Every country's main every single government main responsibility, the priority of every government everywhere should be to advertise their deterrent capabilities. There's no other duty of a government that is higher than this in priority. Beyond the rights and freedoms and healthcare and education, roads, whatever, water, whatever the government does for you, they're number one, number two, number three. Duty of every government in every country is to advertise their deterrent capabilities to other countries. And if that's true for every other country, it's 1,000 times more true for Israel. So, like, I don't understand. Like, oh, you were successful in stopping this attack. That's enough. That is not enough. That is weak. That is pathetic. You need to hit back, and you need to hit back strong. So your enemy learns that there will be consequences. F around and find out. I'm trying to not use dirty words. Let me see if I'm being a good boy. Let me see if I'm still monetized. Yes, we are still monetized. See, this is the rewards. This is what you get for being a good boy. All right, let's continue.
I can tell that you believe Israel is always the one when it gets attacked that is urged to show restraint, and they shouldn't be told to do that.
Pierce, really good to be with you. And I apologize if in my Twitter response to you, if I got personal. I apologize. I didn't mean it. My beef wasn't with what you said, that Israel should show restraint, because I actually agree with that. My beef was the timing of that tweet and so many others. Israel was under attack. The the alarms were going off in Jerusalem. Missiles were raining down on Israel. And it just didn't seem, Pierce, like that was the proper time, while Israel is being attacked, to come out and say Israel needs to show restraint.
Okay, but I have a problem with the timing and the message as well. Because if by showing restraint, you're saying that Israel shouldn't attack, make an attack, make a response, make a counterstrike on Iranian soil, then regardless of the timing, that is insane. That is pathetic. That is weak. When you get hit, you have to respond, and you have to respond strong. You have to respond stronger than the attack that you received. That is a recipe for peace. And I don't know, people are insane. They think that you get peace by not doing any war. The greatest amount of peace that we have achieved is through war, is through crushing the people who want instability, the governments or the militia who are increasing instability, who are warmongers. You have to crush them. You have to defeat them. You have to show them that when they hit, there will be a response. You get peace through war. You get peace through crushing your enemies. You've always, look at history. Look at what happened. Look at Japan. Look at Germany after Japan and Germany after World War II. Look at Egypt and look at Jordan after Israel crushed them. Israel defeated them in war. What happened? They signed peace treaties. You don't get war. You don't get peace through submitting to anybody who wants more war. If somebody is an instigator and you don't respond to them, that's how you get more war. This is so basic. I don't know why people think like whoever's shooting, whoever's like bombing and whoever's shooting a missile, they must be the cause of war. No, sometimes they're actually, that's the force to end wars. But anyways, continue. Oh, let me see. We got a super chat. Thank you, Bunny Wolf, for the super sticker. What was the super sticker? It's a heart. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Speaking of, let's see if we're still monetized. I'm going to try to see what gets us demonetized. Wow, guys, we're 13 minutes into the show and we're still monetized. That's amazing. Thank you, YouTube. We're doing good with the YouTube gods. I don't know what we're doing right today, but this is great. By the way, guys, on Atheist Republic, the YouTube gods are the only gods that we worship here. That's one God that we're not going to blaspheme against.
I agree with the sentiment of what you said. I just didn't think it was the proper time until we knew, Pierce, how many of those missiles might have gotten through and or killed Israelis.
Right, fair enough. Let me go to Cenk. Cenk, it's very complex situation, this. In fact, the whole regional issues are very complex. And we have, of course, at the same time, the situation in Gaza. But Cenk, when you see what Iran did to Israel, what do you think Israel's response should be?
Okay, what do you guess what he's going to say? Guess what he's going to say? Because I've been saying on this channel that these anti-Israeli types, these far leftist people, a lot of them, the only thing that Israelis or Jews can do for them to be satisfied is just to take it. It's just to die. It's just to, by the way, YouTube, that's not my words, but I think we're going to get demonetized now. That's the only thing that they accept. The only thing, so there's no response from Israel that these people will not condemn. There's only one thing that they will not condemn. If Jews just let other people kill them, that's all. That's the only thing they accept. They accept nothing more. Just let other people attack you and do nothing. That is the standard that they have for Israel. So with that in mind, let's see what Cenk has to say.
Their response should be nothing.
Have I not been telling you this? Have I not been telling you this, guys? For ever since October 7th, has this not been a consistent theme on this channel, that this is the only things they would accept? He just spelled it out for you. Like, I didn't even need to interpret anything. Okay, Israel was attacked with 300 drones and missiles, and the response, according to Cenk, which I don't know why it's spelled with a C, is to do nothing. Nothing, he says. Amazing. Amazing. What other country do we say that to? What other country do we expect to do nothing in response to an attack on its soil? Why is Israel so special when it comes to these standards and these expectations? I wonder, what is it about it? I mean, they would not admit it, but what is it about Israel that makes people globally hold it to such standards? Does it have to do, because if it's anything else, I could show you other countries have that. It must be, I think it must be, that they're Jews. Guys, Harris Sultan in the live chat is saying my audio is breaking up. Is my audio breaking up? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is my audio okay? Or maybe it's Harris. Okay, no, it's smooth and clear for other people, Harris. You're just distracting me. By the way, guys, check out Harris Sultan's channel. Okay, yes, it's you. Okay, let's continue.
They should leave well enough alone. Joe Biden with a rare victory here in.
By the way, guys, seriously, check out Harris Sultan's YouTube channel. Okay, I just did a show with him. I did a recording with Harris Sultan, and he's going to be releasing it very soon. And I know Harris Sultan, when he has me, those are his best shows. Okay, any shows that Harris Sultan is with me, those are his top shows. So now that he had the recording with me, make sure you go and check out his channel, because he's going to release that very soon.
Their response should be nothing. They should leave well enough alone. Joe Biden with a rare victory here in being right about the situation. De-escalate right now. Israel obviously started this. And by that, I don't mean we can get into, oh my God, their proxies and the Hamas, but then the occupation, and we can go all the way back to 1948. What I mean specifically is they attack Iran basically on its home soil by attacking the consulate, killing their top general, etc.
Okay, first of all, it's not even a freaking consulate. Okay, stop calling it a consulate. There was an embassy, and there was surrounding building. They just called it a consulate. They're calling it a consulate, even though it's not. It was not being used. It wasn't for consulate activity. The they were making military plans to attack Israel. You had some of the top generals of the Islamic Republic, the Iranian regime, meeting with in that building at that time with heads of their proxy groups, their militias. I mean, not the type of activity you would expect to see in a consulate. And whether or not you want to call it a consulate, you lose the protection under international law if you are using it for military activity. So it's all fair, fair game to hit, whether you want to call it a consulate or not. You don't just get to just label buildings consulates and be able to do military activity in it and then ask nobody to hit it because I just called it a consulate. You're making military plans to attack Israel, but they're supposed to like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you labeled this building a consulate. That's not how it works. That's not how anything works, right? So, and again, it's questionable whether it was even a consulate. And it wasn't even if it was a consulate, what they're saying is usually applies to embassies. And imagine saying that, oh, by the way, so they think Iranian government, Iranian regime is justified to attack Israel because they hit the consulate, which is insane because the Iranian regime has attacked Israeli embassies for decades. And killed civilians, not military staff. So were those declarations of war, Cenk? Would you consider those to be declarations of war? Because if we apply your standard, then we could say that Israel has had the right to go full on, full frontal war against the Iranian regime, given how many attacks on its embassies it has carried out for the past couple of decades. Guys, this is important you see the double standard here. Cenk is saying that the Iranian government attacking Israeli, an attack on Israel soil makes sense. It's understandable because the Israeli government attacked a consulate filled with military staff, top generals. But that doesn't apply the other way around, because the Iranian regime has made many attacks, has had many attacks throughout history on Israeli embassies and Israeli civilians in many places, in Turkey, in Cyprus, in Europe, just for being Israeli, or sometimes just for being Jews. The double standard is not, nothing explains this double standard other than the Jewish factor. Do you not agree with me? Can somebody challenge me on this point? The double standard is because they're Jews. Whatever, we've got some super chats. I want to make sure I do read those. S Hope with the $25 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying, bring on bad boy Armin. Joking. More Zionist-backed funds for you and your crew. Well, thank you. We like Zionist funding. Yeah, Zionists should support Zionists. Guys like the stream. Yes, please, everybody like the stream right now. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Tarun Tak with the $5 super chat saying, Armin, I am a Hinduitva fanatic. Oh, wow. Okay. But can we please put these differences aside to support Israel together and against Islam? Afterwards, we're all we want. I mean, we could be friends and fight each other at the same time. What we can't. Why do we have to wait? We could be. By the way, we fight each other's ideas. We don't have to be, just because we're fighting each other's ideas, that doesn't mean we're enemies. We could be friends while we're fighting each other's ideas. Why do we have to make agreement a condition for friendship? Okay, the best types of friendships are friendships that you don't make agreement a condition. All right, so I could be fighting your ideology, you could be fighting my views, and we could be friends at the same time. Okay, So thank you for the super chat. Thank you for supporting us. But yes, when it comes to shared causes or shared values, we could put our differences aside at those times. But let's continue.
It was an act of provocation. It was meant to get Iran to retaliate. Netanyahu has been dying for a war with Iran for about 2 decades.
That actually, we now have information that's not true. So Cenk is saying that this seemed to have been planned by Israel to get the Iranian regime to respond. And on my stream, I also mentioned that here are the arguments for why that might be the case, and here are the arguments for why that is not the case. So now we have more new information. Again, nothing is definite, but it seems like that was not the case. This was not meant to be a trap, because Mossad was apparently surprised by the Iranian regime's reaction. So it seemed, based on this information, again, nothing is definite, that this was not intended to get such a reaction out of the Iranian regime. So, Cenk, when you are coming up with theories, be skeptical about them. It's okay to have theories and be wrong about them, as long as you're not giving it with such confidence, because now you look like a fool if this ends up being incorrect. How do you know this? How are you giving us this information with such high level of confidence? Do you actually know that the attack on the consulate was intended to get such a reaction for the Iranian regime? Because if you do know that, you have access to certain information that even the highest intelligence agencies of Israel and United States seem not to have. So I don't know, who are you talking to, because I haven't seen that report. Can you show us where you're getting us this information from? Because based on what you're going to say in a couple of minutes, by the way, we shared those parts on Harris Sultan's channel, on Twitter. But here's the thing: based on what you're going to say in a couple of minutes, you don't know what you're talking about. You just make up stuff based on some assumptions that you have about how the Middle East works and what views people have in that region, and you don't actually bother to do any research to see if it's true, which we'll see in a couple of minutes.
Now, he definitely started this. It left Iran absolutely no choice but to respond, and they responded.
It left Iran absolutely no choice but to respond. Look at this oh, wow. Unbelievable. Look at this motherfucker taking the side of the Iranian regime. He's saying that the Iranian regime attacking Israel was justified. They had no other choice. This is, guys, what is it with leftists and Islamic governments and Islamic militia? Why do they love them so much? This is a one-way relationship, right? That they don't love you back. What is it? What is this obsession of leftists and trying to justify the actions of Islamic terrorists and Islamic regimes? What is it? What is it with that? What is up with that? Why does this keep happening over? And by the way, when I say it happens over and over again, a lot of you just remember this only after 9/11 till now. But given me being an Iranian, we have a much longer history with this. Like this is something that keeps repeating itself way before the Islamic Revolution of 1979 in Iran. So this is, we don't understand. I do understand. I wrote an article about it. Go read my article about it on queer majority. But anyways, so again, look at the double standard. If you apply this standard on Israel, then Israel would be justified to just go full-on attack mode on the entirety of Iranian soil. Because he's saying that the Iranian government had no choice but to do this attack because their consulates were attacked. And yet, at the same time, he's saying that Israel should do nothing. You freaking moron. Do you know that the Iranian regime has attacked Israeli embassies before? based on this standard, they should attack as well. They have no choice but to attack. Do you know, sir, that October 7th was planned by the Iranian regime, according to the Iranian regime itself? So based on your standard, if Israel, when Israel kills seven of Iranian military officials, you say it's justified for Iranian regime to attack Israeli soil. So now that we know, this is new information, by the way, new information. Now that it has been confirmed, even though we have been saying, I have been saying this since October 7th, that October 7th was done with the plan, not just with the blessing, but with the planning of the Iranian regime. And now I have the evidence to back that up, because a lot of people were denying that. Now that we have the evidence to back that up, well, Cenk, would you say that Israel is justified to go attack the Iranian regime on Iranian soil? Because we have 7 on this side, we have 1,200, many of them civilians on the other side. This was 7 military staff. That's 1,200, most of which were civilians. Now confirmed, planned, and blessed by the Iranian regime. So what happened to your... Now you say, well, Israel should do nothing? The Iranian regime gets to attack Israel, but Israel doesn't get to attack the Iranian regime. Why? Why? And the response to 9 should be attacking Israel's soil, but the response to 1,200 should be nothing? Because they're Jews. By the way, guys, if you've noticed, I keep saying Israel and the Iranian regime. Why don't I say the Israeli regime, but I say the Iranian regime? Do you know why? Because the gap between the Iranian people and their regime is much wider than an actual democratic country. That's why it's important when it comes to Iran to not say Iran, because the Iranian regime is not Iran. It doesn't represent Iran. Okay? So Iran is one thing, and the Iranian regime is something else. It's a completely something else. That's why I keep saying the Iranian regime. Yeah.
In a way that basically showed their hand, which was, we don't want a war. They gave 72-hour notice. It took the drones several hours to get there. If Iran wanted to do damage inside Israel, it would not have done this type of attack at all. This was Iran.
That is also wrong. That is also not, again, we said this from the very first hours after this happened. We mentioned this, that according to that analysis, this attack was designed to do harm. To be fair, it wasn't designed to do a lot of harm, but it was designed to do some harm. Okay? So, Cenk, you're not a military expert, so maybe shut the F up. Maybe listen to the experts, because that's what we did. And apparently, this was specifically designed to do some damage and some harm. But to be fair, it was designed in a way to do very little damage and harm. However, it failed to do even that. It failed to do the level of damage that it wanted to do. Okay? It wouldn't have sent 300 again. So the drones were sent, 6 or 7 hours earlier, at exactly the right time for them to reach their destination at the same time that the ballistic and the cruise missiles were coming in to overwhelm Israel's defense mechanism. And some of it the intention was for some of it to make it through the defense. The Iranian regime understood that most of it would be intercepted. But again, if you look at the way this was planned, it was meant, because if it was meant to make no damages at all, it wouldn't have been designed this way. And it wouldn't have been 300, because it was very costly. If it was meant to send a message, it would have been maybe 10, 20, 30 at most, or 40 or 50, something like that. But 300, and again, with that specific planning that I mentioned, it's obvious to the experts, not according to me, that it failed at doing what it was trying to do, to cause some damage, because the defense was stronger than the Iranian regime. The Iranian regime is now understanding that there is a coalition. So the whole purpose of the October 7th attack was to stop a coalition taking place against the Iranian regime in the Middle East. But now the Iranian regime is noticing that the coalition is just naturally coming, like there's no choice. The very nature of the Iranian regime will force a coalition being built around it. Sometimes just, just springs out of nowhere. Like when you saw this attack happening, immediately you had multiple countries, France, UK, United States, Jordan, and now we know also Saudi Arabia was involved in protecting Israel. So the whole plan of October 7th, which was to stop the Abrahamic Accords, which was to stop a coalition being built against the Iranian regime in the Middle East, now you can see that will happen anyways. There is, given how big of how major of a cause for instability the Iranian regime is in the region, the other nations will have no choice. People condemning Israel for genocide or apartheid or all of that is not going to stop how important it is for all these other countries to get united against the Islamic Republic. Because at the end of the day, stability, trade, capitalism, right? These are the forces for peace, and they speak louder than a whole bunch of idiots, anti-Semitic idiots that are blaming Israel for genocide, or holding it by standards that no other country in the world is held by. But anyways, let's continue.
Basically saying, look, we have to appease our domestic audience here and tell them, oh, we were tough and struck Israel back. But they knew they were going to get no casualties. So
no, they didn't know that. How could they have known that? 300 drones and missiles, and they knew they're going to get no casualties? You're making this up. How he's whitewashing the Iranian regime. They knew, he thinks the Israeli regime is pure evil, that they just live to kill Palestinians. They just living every second of their lives they're thinking about how I want to kill another Palestinian child. He thinks that every single Palestinian child that is dying in Gaza is being intentionally killed by the Israeli regime and by the IDF. Like they're just like, oh my God, another day, another opportunity to kill Palestinian children. That's what Cenk thinks about the Israeli government, which is insane, which is absolutely insane. But about the Iranian regime, he thinks that their intention was to kill absolutely no one. These people are just the Ayatollahs in Tehran. They're just saints. They don't want to. They wish they don't want to even kill a fly. They were like, oh my God, a fly in Israel died from one of our missiles. Holy crap, man! Like, we were sorry. We were not intending to do that. Like, this is his view of the Ayatollahs. I mean, this is the analyst that people listen to. He has a channel that a lot of these progressives, like one of the most popular YouTube channels among progressives, and this is their analyst. Look at the extreme ways that he looks at the Ayatollahs, the bias that he has in whitewashing the intentions of the Ayatollahs, and the cartoonishly evil view he has of the Israeli government. By the way, let me see Angie in the live chat. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Angie saying, I don't understand how isn't it so obvious at that point? Seriously, Israel just got attacked again. How can anyone expect a no response? Well, because they're Jews. They're just supposed to let the whole world just do whatever they want with them. That has been the case throughout history, and it should continue. That's just a tradition. You attack Jews and they just take it. They don't stand up. They don't say enough is enough. They don't defend themselves. Jews are just supposed to take it. They're just supposed to apparently die. But thank you, Angie, for the super chat. Let me actually say these words that I'm saying, by the way, dear YouTube gods, these are not my words. These I'm making fun of anti-Semitic people. Let me see if you've taken our monetization away from us because of my wow. Our monetization is still on. What a blessed day. What a blessed day. How is this happening? I've been saying some borderline, stuff that the YouTube algorithm might think that I'm being anti-Semitic, but even though I'm talking about other people's, like, this is a good day. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, somebody say I saw an ad. Yay, guys, we're monetized. All right, let's continue.
We had a tit for tat.
Guys, make sure you like the stream. Like the stream, and please like the stream so that more people end up seeing this show. Thank you.
To respond, and they responded in a way that basically showed their hand, which was, we don't want a war. They gave 72-hour notice. It took the drones several hours to get there. If Iran wanted to do damage inside Israel, it would not have done this type of attack at all.
Cenk, drones will have taken several hours to get there anyways. That's what drones do. They're missiles. They do not, like, he's like, oh, the drones took a couple of hours to get Israel, to get to Israel. That shows that they didn't want to do any damage. As opposed to what, Cenk? Do you happen to have any drones that will take the path from Iran to Israel in like minutes? Do you understand that drones are a lot slower than missiles? The reason why they released the drones a lot earlier is because they were supposed to reach Israel at the same time as the missiles. So the missiles take a lot shorter time to get there. So they sent the missiles ahead of time. And then once that they're enough distance to Israel, then they release the missiles so that they reach Israel at the same time. So they overwhelm their defense mechanism, and some of them will make it through. So because if the drones, yes, the drones are slow, and Israel could see them coming from, miles away, like, okay, this is easy to hit. However, at some of your defense mechanism has to be occupied taking the drones, and the staff and the attention of the people working there, it takes resources and attention. And given the resources and attention it gets, it will give a higher chance for the drones to make it through. That's why they sent it a couple hours in advance, not because they were not intending any damage. Maybe talk to somebody before you make a fool out of yourself.
This was Iran basically saying, look, we have to appease our domestic audience here and tell them, oh, we were tough and struck Israel back. But they knew they were going to get no casualties. So we had a tit for tat. We should leave it alone right now. If Israel goes back and hits Iran again, then there's going to be no end to this. Then Iran is going to have to respond.
No, you idiot. If Israel doesn't respond, there will be no end to this. You moron. Do you understand how deterring works? If somebody bullies, let me tell you, let me explain this to you like you are a child, because you seem to be like a child, okay? If somebody bullies you in school, okay, and takes your lunch, it hits you, gives you a veggie, and takes your lunch money, okay? You're not escalating by punching him, okay? If you don't hit back, then you're escalating, because the bully is like, okay, let's do this again. I'm not getting any resistance. If you hit back, the hitting back is de-escalating. It's not escalating, it's de-escalating, because you're sending a signal to your enemy that, yeah, this deserves a response. You need to teach your enemy a lesson that don't do this again, because I will hit back. When you hit back, you're actually de-escalating. How is this something that people don't understand? It's called F around and find out. Once you find out, maybe next time you're not going to F around. Okay, Alicia with the super chat. Thank you, Alicia. Alicia saying, more Zionist money. Mwah! Thank you for the Zionist money. I love Zionist funding. Alicia saying, more Zionist money. By the way, Cenk is just a cynical clown. Keep the good work, Armin. Well, thank you. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. Oh, we also got a super sticker from Jewish Pirate. $6.99. That's amazing. $6.99 Canadian dollars, and this with a super sticker. What was the super sticker? Let me go. Okay, it's a hippo running very, very fast. I don't know why, but thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, let's remove these stars. Let's continue.
This time it's going to be real, and people are going to die in Israel. It's a terrible, disastrous idea. They should definitely stop right now.
Yeah, people in Israel are going to die more when the enemies of Israel attack Israel and Israel doesn't respond, because that's an open invitation to Israel's enemies to attack some more. You moron, you idiot. Okay, let's see. Wonder Woman, give us $10 saying, thank you, Armin. Love the interpretations to ignorant fools about fundamental human behavior. Yes, I mean, I don't even know why I need to do that. It seems pretty obvious. Like, what is the point of having a military other than advertising your deterrent capabilities? Like, why even have a military if you get attacked and you're not going to respond? Oh, we got a new member. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being a critical leftist media. CLM just became a member. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Wow, we're getting a lot of financial support today. Let me see if we're still monetized. We're still monetized. What's happening today? This is weird. I'm not used to being monetized 46 minutes into the show. All right, let's continue.
Okay, Emily Schrader, I can see you, well, I would say not entirely agreeing with what you just heard.
Yes, I strongly disagree, as you can imagine.
Oh, by the way, Emily is amazing. So I don't know if I need to even stop her. I'm just gonna let her just do her thing because she's just fantastic. She has amazing points. I don't think I'm gonna have any. I mean, I'm gonna stop if I have some disagreements, but she's fantastic. Oh, we got shekels. I love getting shekels. Thank you. Critical Leftist Media CLM just gave us a super sticker, which is a pair doing a bow. Thank you, with 30 shekels. Wow, that's great. Thank you. We're getting funded from inside Israel.
I think the entire premise of asking Israel to exercise restraint rather than deterrence is a fundamental part of the problem here. I mean, as the Crown Prince mentioned, the Islamic Republic has been doing this for many, many years. It's a fundamental premise of the regime since 1979. They have been sworn to Israel's destruction. They have been sworn to America's destruction. This is a fundamental value of the Islamic Republic. And not only that, but I find it very interesting what Cenk is saying right now, because the majority of the Iranian people, both inside and outside of Iran, disagree with him. In fact, there are thousands and thousands of Iranians who wish that Israel will assist the people of Iran in bringing down this regime. We are not going to see a better future in the Middle East for the Arab Muslims, for the Iranians, or for the...
Like, look at what he's laughing at. So Emily just mentioned that there are thousands of Iranians who take Israel's side against the Iranian regime, and Cenk is laughing. Cenk is a person that has this stereotypical understanding of Middle Eastern person who he thinks he's the savior of, who are anti-Western, who are anti-Israeli, and he just stereotypes all of them, has a generalized understanding of their views, and he lives in such an echo chamber in his own bubble that he couldn't even fathom that that this is actually true. And it's amazing that he thinks that after so long, after October 7th, like, he laughs at the idea that Iranians will support Israel against the regime. But how ignorant, because I would excuse this if you were this ignorant before the Mahsa Revolution and before October 7th. But the fact that so many Iranians have came out and showed their support, their extreme strong support for Israel against their own regime, has been so much talked about and documented now. For Cenk to be this ignorant about it, but also is just so naive. Like, these leftists, their understanding is that, oh, if you are Arab, or if you're Iranian, or if you're Muslim, you're obviously anti-Israeli. What is this crazy lady talking about? And he's laughing at that, and he's so confident in his position. He's so confident that he's embarrassing himself in front of an audience because he's so confident. He thinks this woman is obviously a fool who doesn't understand what she's talking about, not knowing that he is the actual fool. And I will show that to you. But let's continue with this.
Israelis in the Middle East until there is regime change in Iran. And to say that Israel started this is preposterous. It's not Israel.
But let's listen to that laugh again, because the fact that he's laughing at that is just says everything about these people, and they call other people racist, but this shows how they have this mentality, how they have this generalized view about the people of an entire region, not understanding the complexities or the politics of that region, and just coming up with their own conclusions based on their own bias understanding, their own anti-Western, anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish understanding. And because they see themselves as representative of the people who are fighting back against this evil, they think that they understand them, but they didn't even bother to research or have the basic understanding of the very people that they think that they're speaking on behalf of. But let's continue.
Interesting what Cenk is saying right now, because the majority of the Iranian people, both inside and outside of Iran, disagree with him. In fact, there are thousands and thousands of Iranians who wish that Israel will assist the people of Iran in bringing down this regime. We are not going to see a better future in the Middle East for the Arab Muslims, for the Iranians, or for the Israelis in the Middle East until there is regime change in Iran. And to say that Israel started this is preposterous. It's not Israel that has a countdown to the destruction of Israel in the center of their largest city. That's Iran. It's Iran who has made hating Israel a fundamental premise of the regime, an obsessive hatred, an obsessive irrational hatred that they have taken money from the people of Iran and poured hundreds of millions of dollars into terrorist proxy organizations on the borders of Israel in order to ultimately destruct and destroy the state of Israel. I also want to add one more thing about the consulate that's important to note, that it was not, in fact, a consulate. It was an annex of the consulate. And even if it was a consulate, under international law, it is permissible to strike when it's being used as a military headquarters.
Amazing. Emily, I love you. Oh my God, this is fantastic. Amazing point. That's what we have been saying for a couple of days now on our Persian and our English shows. Thank you for making that point. Emily just hits it, because I see a lot of these analysis and people don't make that point. But Emily, I think it's the first time I see somebody making that point. Thank you so much, because this argument was not being heard on very platform with such huge audiences. So now somebody put that out there on such a huge platform for the record.
To plan and conduct terrorist operations. Israel is in a state of war. We're in a state of war with the proxy of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Hamas, and that is what that commander who was killed in that strike was doing there. So this is a legitimate target, even though Israel hasn't officially claimed responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to bring Joe in a moment. I just want to
get nothing to say about what Emily said, because that was fantastic.
Cenk, you were laughing at one stage there. What were you laughing at?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of absurd things were said there. Like any mention of the Crown Prince. I mean, the guy's the son of a former dictator of Iran. He has zero.
Wow. So he's talking about the crown. Okay. I have to have this ready. I have to have something. I wish I had this ready ahead of time. But so he's talking about Reza Pahlavi, which is the son of the former king in Iran before the Islamic Republic came into power. And he's saying he's the son of a dictator. By the way, this is what a lot of leftists, again, these are the narratives of the Islamic Republic, right? These people, I don't know, where do they get their lines from? Are they being just copies of what the Islamic Republic says? The previous Shah, before the Pahlavi dynasty of Iran, before the Islamic Republic came into power, technically, okay, sure, it wasn't a democracy. Well, it was more democratic than what we have right now in Iran. It was on the path, like both the son and the father, the Reza Shah and Mohammad Reza Shah, they were both on the path of increasing freedom, making the country more democratic, creating building the foundations needed for democracy, and that was their goal. The goal, at least for sure, the goal of Muhammad Reza Shah, which was the son of Reza Shah, was when he was king to eventually get the country to become a democracy. Muhammad Reza Shah was the person that insisted on giving women the right to vote against the wishes of the mullah. What a dictator, huh? Muhammad Reza Shah, according to Cenk, who is a dictator, was he paid such a heavy price because he was so much adamant to make sure that women get the right to education and the right to vote. I wouldn't call that a dictator. That was a king, okay, so not very democratic, trying to create the path for the country to eventually become democratic. That was his goal. So he's saying that, but let's say he's right. Let's assume that Muhammad Reza Shah was a dictator. But his son right now, what does that got to do with judging his son right now? So again, so remember, we have Reza Shah, okay, the first king in the Pahlavi dynasty. His son is Muhammad Reza Shah, and now Muhammad Reza Shah's son, who is alive today, who lives in exile in the United States, his name is Reza Pahlavi, right? He has the same name as his grandfather. He is completely believes in democracy, right? He's one of the most strongest cheerleaders of democracy among the opposition and in Iran, right? So even if his father was a dictator, why are you judging his son based on what his father was? Like what happened to the sins of the father not being the sins of the son? Let's say his father was a dictator. Why are you judging him based? Have you heard what he said? Have you read his books? Have you listened to his speeches? Reza Pahlavi is not at all a dictator. In fact, he's the farthest thing away from a dictator if you understood what he says and what he represents. So you, Cenk, are completely ignorant about anything Iranian related. You have no clue what you're talking about, and you're judging a son based on what his father was, and you don't even understand what his father was. But even if you're right about his father, what does that got to do with the son? You're completely dismissing that person. By the way, Reza Pahlavi was the person, the crown prince of Iran was the person that was speaking at the beginning of this show. I'm not going to highlight that part on this show. I'm leaving that part for the Persian show that comes after this, right? So, but anyways, I want to make sure I have this report ready. Political system towards international relations. Iran has an election. Iran has towards elections. Iran, nope, not that one. Towards media. Iran has towards death penalty. I will. Okay, let me just make sure Cenk say this while I look for this because I want to show that how wrong he is.
And that is what that commander who was killed in that strike was doing there. So this is a legitimate target, even though Israel hasn't officially claimed responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to bring Joe in a moment. I just want to get Cenk. You were laughing at one stage there. What were you laughing at?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of absurd things were said there. Like any mention of the crown prince. I mean, the guy's the son of a former dictator of Iran. He has zero credibility with the Iranian people. Look, the Iranian regime
that's absolutely
a disaster.
He is the most.
Okay, zero credibility within the Iranian people. Are you serious? Are you freaking serious? What are you talking about? I have to find this report really fast because this man is insane. Okay, there we go. I found it. I'm glad because I was upset that I didn't have this ready. I didn't have this ready. Guys, I have definite proof for you that Cenk has no understanding about anything Iranian related, okay? This will destroy him. This piece, you have to cut this piece and piece and make sure that every time somebody mentions Cenk as an analyst to show this part to him, okay? He said, let's just play. Let me actually share this tab and let's just play what he just said right now one more time, and then I will show you the report, okay? Oh my, I come here with facts and data. Okay. This is what I'm about to show you is a report, a scientifically collected data. Okay. A scientific poll. Okay. So let's watch this.
I just want to get, Cenk, you were laughing at one stage there. What were you laughing at?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of absurd things were said there. Like any mention of the Crown Prince. I mean, the guy's the son of a former dictator of Iran. He has zero credibility with the Iranian people. Look, the Iranian regime
That's absolutely
a
false.
disaster.
That is absolutely false. That's correct, Emily. Look at this. I have receipts. I have proof. I have data. Okay, so this is the Gammon poll. I knew exactly where to go to find the report that shows that this data, that what Cenk is saying is wrong. Okay, so he says, "Who are you? Why are you speaking for the Iranian people?" He has no credibility among the Iranian people. He apparently has the highest credibility among the Iranian people by a huge margin. Look, he's at the top of the chart. So the question is, if there were free elections in Iran in which nominees of diverse political orientations could participate, which of the following persons would you vote for? Look, number one is Reza Pahlavi, and with a huge margin from anyone else. So, Cenk, not only does he have credibility among Iranian people, he has the highest level of credibility among the Iranian people. You fool! You idiot! Shut the F up! Who are you to speak for the Iranian people? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you embarrassing yourself? Where are you getting this data from? You know, I know where you're getting this data from. You know, I know why he thinks like this. Because the Pahlavis represent up to the leftist mind, okay, both leftists in Iran, the communists in Iran, and outside of Iran, because the commies in Iran have convinced the leftists around the world that the Shahs were evil and their son is evil, and nobody in Iran wants them because the Shah was supposed to be the bourgeoisie, the kings. This is royalty, monarchy. Anything that had touched any symbols of monarchy or royalty, they're the bourgeoisie. They're the evil. They're the puppets of the imperialist West. And the Iranian people, who are part of the global South, or the part of the brown people, they rise up against kings. They fight kings. They fight monarchies. You know, they want democracy, not kings. And even the son who is actually somebody that seems not to like actually monarchy himself. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that topic. But the son who is so much, he's an advocate for democracy. He's an advocate for elections and everything. He's condemned just because he was the son of the king, to the extent that Cenk is saying he has no credibility among the Iranian people. Nothing could have been farther from the truth. If you say Reza Pahlavi has no credibility among the Iranian people, that shows you are completely out of touch. You have no understanding of anything Iranian related, and you should shut your mouth, like, you idiot. You made a fool out of yourself. Let me actually bring him back on. Hold on. Let me see actually if I have some other data, because that was, oh my God, I am so satisfied right now. I feel so proud of myself that I knew exactly where to go, and I had no, guys, is there any way to be able to actually shut someone's, to show how wrong someone is so effectively with facts and data, with a survey, with an academic survey by Gammon Institution, okay? Which is an academic survey, by scientists, by people who know what they're doing. But let me actually see if I have more data about Pahlavi here. No, I don't. Okay. So that's good. But I think that was good enough. Let's continue. So Emily, by the way, Emily is not Iranian. Emily, I think she's Israeli. Correct me if I'm wrong. And she, look at the information she has. I don't know. Most people don't have this level of nuanced information, but look how she responds, and what she's saying is completely accurate. But I don't know how she knows this. But listen to this. Oh, by the way, guys, I saw the super chats. I'm gonna read the super chats pretty soon. But look at this.
Zero credibility with the Iranian people. Look, the Iranian regime is
That's absolutely
a
false.
disaster.
He is the most.
Yeah, that's
he is the
hilarious.
most popular
Hold on, let me
figure
get to
of
mine.
any Iranians. Are you Iranian?
Look at what he's laughing at. Look at what he's laughing at. He's like, he's the most. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Oh my God, so embarrassing. So Emily is accurately saying he's the most popular figure among all people in politics, among all the activists and all the politicians in Iran. No one is even as close as popular as Reza Pahlavi. Nobody, not a single person. And Emily says that, and what happens? She's laugh. He's so confident about how Reza Pahlavi has no credibility, about the lack of credibility of Reza Pahlavi. He lives in a bubble. These leftists live in an echo chamber, and they just read each other's work and listen to each other's podcasts, and they don't come. This is what happens to your mind when you live in an echo chamber, when you don't listen to people who might have other opinions than you. He's so, look at the cringy laugh. Emily is completely on point, and he laughs at that because he's so confident. Oh my, listen to this.
Moment. I just want to get, Cenk, you were laughing at one stage there. What were you laughing at?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of absurd things were said there.
Let me go find this tweet, actually.
Prince. I mean, the guy's the son of a former dictator of Iran. He has zero credibility with the Iranian people. Look, the Iranian regime is
That's absolutely
a
false.
disaster.
He is the most. He is the most popular figure of any Iranians. Are you Iranian? Ask the Iranians yourself.
Okay,
it's very, very clear.
Oh, please,
While there are some
please,
people
we
who
love our
don't support
dictator
him,
back.
the vast
Okay,
majority
can I
of
answer the
them.
question?
We love our dictator back. Most Iranians, what you calling a dictator, most Iranians want that back. Do you not know that most people want to go back to that? Most people regret the revolution. Do you know one of the most famous chants in Iran against the Iranian regime? When people go in the streets and they chant, they say, ما اشتباه کردیم که انقلاب کردیم. This is one of the most favorite chants of people, which it says, we were wrong to have a revolution, because they want to go back to the Pahlavis. People have so much nostalgia for those days. People were saying the revolution, the Islamic revolution, was a mistake. People chant in the street, they say, Reza Shah Ruhat Shad, which means like King Reza, your rest in peace, or like happy be your soul, which is an Iranian chant. Like they celebrate that man. They regret the revolution. They want those days back. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, sure, the Iranian people want the dictator back. What you call a dictator was the greatest blessing to Iran, and I would say in the past 1,000 years. Do you have any idea what Reza Pahlavi and Mohammad Reza Pahlavi did for Iran? Do you know what country they inherited from the Qajar dynasty and what they did? Do you know the investments they made in education, in infrastructure, in women's rights, in all kinds of rights, in international relationships? Do you know how strong? Do you know how much the country's economy grew during the Pahlavis? And the only reason why the Iranian people had a revolution was because their minds were corrupted by communists, by a whole bunch of leftists, by your people. Because leftists had a revolution fetish. This country did not require a revolution. Everything was progressing. Everything was getting better. But the leftists, because of there was a fever for revolutions in the world among leftists, and the leftists in Iran were convinced that they need to have a revolution, even though things were getting better. And then now the Iranian people have recognized that this was a mistake, that they wish they have never done that. A lot of parents apologize to their children that we did this to you. We were wrong. We ruined this country. We were fooled by the communists. And now the Islamists inherited the country because the communists, the leftists, convinced the people to do a revolution against the Shahs. Yes, they do want that back. You idiot, you moron, they do want that back. Unbelievable. I don't know. Let me go back a little.
Zero credibility with the Iranian people. Look, the Iranian regime is
absolutely
a
false.
disaster.
He is the most
Yeah, that's
he is the
hilarious.
most popular
Hold on, let me
figure
get to
of
mine.
any Iranians. Are you Iranian? Ask the Iranians yourself.
that's
It's very,
hilarious.
very clear.
Oh, please,
While there are some
please,
people
we'd
who
love our
don't support
dictator
him,
back.
the vast
Okay, can I
majority of
answer the
them,
question?
the vast majority of them do support the Shah.
Is she just going to talk over me? Because we can keep doing this all day long. Let me answer the question. So, first of all, the idea that they want their dictator back is hilarious. Second of all, but the thing that I laughed out loud at is she's like, oh, the Iranian people want Israel to bomb them. Do they? Do they? That's the most preposterous thing I have
I said
ever
the
heard in my
Iranian
life.
people want. It's actually.
It's not bomb them, you freaking moron. They don't. Why are you mixing the Iranian people and the regime? The regime, the Iranian people would love, many of them, not all, many of the Iranian people would love for Israel to bomb the regime. Why do you think bombing the regime is the same as bombing the Iranian people? You idiot. This is what he does. Like, oh, yeah, sure, the Iranian people would want Israel to bomb them. No, not them, not them. The regime, they're oppressors. Yes, a lot of them are begging Israel to come and bomb their oppressors. A lot of them think that this is the last chance that they have for liberation. But hold on, let me see. Actually, there's a whole bunch of super chats that I haven't read. I want to highlight what Cenk is laughing at here, because just like I had proof that Cenk was wrong with facts, with data, with polls, with scientifically collected data, right? I have more information that shows how stupid Cenk is being here right now as well. Okay, let me see the super chat. Okay, Rotten Buhbat gave us a 15 shekel super sticker. Well, thank you, madam or sir. Appreciate the Zionist money. I'm being a Zionist myself. I like getting funded by Zionists. Thank you. GA with the £2 super chat saying Armin looks like Indian actor Shiny Ahuja. Well, I think then that Indian actor must be very handsome. I hope so. Well, thank you for the super chat. Troll, thank you so much for the 50 Danish krona. Thank you. I think. Well, thank you so much for the super chat and saying Iran under the Shah was like Taiwan in the 1980s before the son of the Chiang Kai-shek, I don't know how to pronounce that, started liberalization. I think Reza Pahlavi would have done the same. Reza Pahlavi was doing the same. You have no idea the amount of work that this man did to make this country grow and progress. Like if I even go through the things that he did, you would not believe me. But I have the facts. I have the data. Let me tell you how big of a dictator like Mohammad Reza Shah was. Like, oh my God, this Reza Pahlavi is the son of a dictator. Why would people listen to him? Okay, but the son of Mohammad Reza Shah, he's saying Reza Pahlavi, he has no credibility because he's the son of Mohammad Reza Shah, and Mohammad Reza Shah was a dictator. I could spend hours telling you what kind of a man Mohammad Reza Shah was. But I will just tell you one thing that tells you how big of a dictator that man was. Somebody shot him. Somebody shot Mohammad Reza Shah. An attempt of assassination, which he obviously survived. You know what he did, Mohammad Reza Shah? He forgave the man that shot him. He said that if the crime was against the country, I could not have forgiven him because it was not me. It was not for me to forgive. But given that he shot me, he personally tried to kill me, and he shot him. He was hospitalized. I can forgive him. He forgave the so-called dictator, forgave the man that shot him. That's the kind of person that he was. This is the stuff of fiction. Like, you only read this in fiction, but this is actually happening in real life. I could not believe. This is made up stuff. And I went and read it, and I was like, okay, no, this is actually true. Like, I thought that you only read these things in fantasy and like myth and fiction, but apparently no. We didn't know all our lives, we didn't know that we had a king like that. We only now, many years after, we were being introduced to what kind of a person this was. Mohammad Reza Shah, to build the foundations to eventually be able to make Iran a democracy, he had decided that he needed to focus on education. He was planning during his time to get the best teachers of Iran and make them teach a class and record their teaching and get satellite TV and broadcast the teaching of the best teachers, recorded teaching of the best teachers of the country, free to the entire nation. That was his plan, to get education accessible for free everywhere in Iran. But he never got to do that because we had the Islamic Revolution. There's so many, I could go on forever about the things that this man did in trying to improve his country. And Cenk is laughing at that. He says, oh, Iranian people want their dictator back. They do want that man back. They curse themselves for doing the revolution. Anyways, let's go to the next super chat. Troel is saying, notice how Cenk and his ilk never talks about Ataturk in this manner. They might concede he was authoritarian, but they do not denigrate him like this. Yeah, actually, being part of the Young Turks, I could see why he might not want to do that. All right, so Nina with the 10 euro super chat saying, let's be real, TYT is Fox News with a blue paint. That's actually good. Analysis. Yeah, I agree with that interpretation. I think that he's like more of the Alex Jones of the left. That's how far he is. But let's continue.
Really not. There are multiple polls that show that.
Go ahead.
I personally.
Yeah, listen to this part. Oh yeah, I want to show. He's laughing at this part. I want to show you this.
He is the most popular figure of any Iranians. Are you Iranian? Ask the Iranians yourself.
Okay,
it's very, very clear.
Oh, please,
While there are some people who don't support him,
back.
the vast majority of them do support the Shah.
Is she just going to talk over me? Because we can keep doing this all day long. Let me.
Well, if you laugh over her, then she can talk over you. Okay, when she's making a point and you just laugh over her, then I think it's fair for her to talk over what you're saying.
Answer the question. So, first of all, the idea that they want their dictator back is hilarious. Second of all, but the thing that I laughed out loud at is she's like, "Oh, the Iranian people want Israel to bomb them. Do they? Do they?" That's the most preposterous thing I have ever heard in my life.
I said the Iranian people want. It's actually not. There are multiple polls that show that. I personally think it's crazy.
Multiple polls.
No, here's the first time I disagree with Emily. It's not crazy. So Emily's saying, I personally think it's crazy for the Iranian people to want Israel to come and strike. Military sites, nuclear sites, the office of the supreme leader. I think it's completely justified. In fact, I am an Iranian who wants that. Okay, so hey, like, you think we're not real? Like, hey guys, I'm Iranian, and I would thank the Israeli, the IDF to come and strike, military facilities, not civilian sites, of course, but military facilities within Iranian borders, or nuclear facilities. And okay, I don't. Debate adversary. I don't know. I know that's why that's unreasonable to expect for the IDF to do. But these two, fantastic. Please go ahead and do that. Or even oil. Any oil facilities that they might have, just to hurt the pockets of the regime, hurt them financially. I'll support it as well. So Emily saying, I think that's crazy. That's good, because I don't want to. Emily is fantastic. I just want to make sure that I'm not agreeing with anybody 100%. Because I don't want to be like black and white. Okay, we're gonna have disagreements with everybody. So this is my first disagreement with Emily. But let's see what Cenk is saying.
Show that they want to be bombed by Israel.
There have been that they support.
Why, it's insufferable. Look at how he's laughing at the facts. Emily is telling you something that is true, and you're just laughing over her. And you're like, oh, there are polls that they want to be bombed by Israel? Cenk, you're misrepresenting what she's saying. They don't want to be themselves to be bombed by you. Your tiny little brain cannot comprehend that the Iranian people see themselves separate from their government. So if they want the Israeli military to come bomb their government, that doesn't mean that they want the Israeli military to come bomb them. You moron. Why is this such? How is this person? Why does he have such a large audience? People are idiots. Unbelievable. Listen to this.
Well, the idea that they want their dictator back is hilarious. Second of all, but the thing that I laughed out loud at is she's like, oh, the Iranian people want Israel to bomb them. Do they? Do they? That's the most preposterous thing I have ever heard in my life.
I said the Iranian people want... It's actually not. There are multiple polls that show that. I personally think it's crazy.
Multiple polls that show that they want to be bombed by Israel?
There have been that they support Israeli strikes. That they support Israeli strikes on regime, IRGC, and regime sites exclusively.
Look at how oh my God, you see how in real time, he changed what she said. Look, she said they support Israeli strikes on the regime, and Cenk was like, they support Israeli strikes on themselves? Like within seconds, he changed on the regime to on themselves. Did you guys notice how he changed it within seconds? He didn't even wait seconds to change what she said. So let me just go back a few seconds. Look at this.
Support Israeli strikes on regime, IRGC, and regime sites exclusively.
I can't believe this. Like I try to make this point, how people change the narrative, what is being said. But I didn't even I myself didn't expect it to be this easy. You see exactly what Emily said, and Cenk like repeated it, but changed the most important part. Did you see that happening? Emily saying they support Israeli strikes on the regime, and Cenk trying to like make fun of it, and he said themselves. No, not themselves. The regime. Maybe listen to what Emily is saying. Okay, so somebody, guys, if you want to put hashtag free Iran, do it once. Okay, I'm gonna have to put you on timeout because you're posting that too many times. You could post it once or twice, but if you post it so many times, then I have to time you out. Okay, let's
support Israeli strikes on regime, IRGC, and regime sites exclusively. On IRGC sites. Yes, the majority of the Iranian people support regime change. The majority of the Iranian people support regime change. I find it disgraceful that you are laughing at the suffering of 80 million people who live under an Islamist dictatorship.
No.
There are women who are being...
So let me actually show you some evidence that what Emily is saying is true. And I'm going to show you, the first thing that I'm going to show you is not very convincing, okay? But I'm going to show you some other information that will make it more convincing. The reason why the first one is not as convincing is because it's a poll that we ran ourselves on our Persian community. Remember, I told you that we have also a Persian channel. So this is our English channel, and we have a Persian channel, which is mostly an Iranian audience, right? So let me put this. So we posted this poll, and we got almost 2,000 votes. So we asked, this is from people, Iranian people. This is a poll written in Persian to Iranian people. So we asked our community, آیا از حمله اسرائیل به جمهوری اسلامی در پاسخ به حملات موشکی و پهپادی جمهوری اسلامی استقبال می‌کنید? Which means, do you support an attack by Israel against the Islamic Republic in response to the attack, the missile and drone attack by the Islamic Republic? So would you support a counterstrike? Would you support Israel's responding with an attack of itself? So 64% said yes, 36% said no, right? So 64% of the people here said yes, they will support Israel attacking the Islamic regime, the Islamic Republic, the Iranian regime, right? So, but again, a lot of people might say, and we got 2,000 votes here. A lot of people are like, okay, I just wanted to, this is not very convincing because it's our community, so people might say that's biased. I just wanted to show you that we do see a lot of people saying, and again, I am in touch with a lot of Iranians, and I do see a lot of people welcoming that, right? And if you actually go look at, like, I'm on Discord, I spend a lot of time on Discord with our Persian community, and also if you look at the comments here, and also all the people that I'm in touch with in Iran, the main reason why people will support Israel attacking the regime is because they're against the regime, and a lot of them are hoping that maybe if Israel attacks the Islamic Republic, there's a chance that the regime will topple or something like that. Some of them are optimistic that something like that would happen, but some of them, even if that does not happen, they will support that. And they also, a lot of them make it conditional that the Israeli attack is on military sites or non-civilian sites. They will only support it in that way. But among a lot of people who say no, they would not support it, the main reason why I saw like just 36% that wouldn't support it is that they don't like what that does to their livelihood, to the cost of their lives. So if you look at, like, after the Iranian regime attacked Israel, the price of the US dollar, in Iranian reals, just skyrocketed to an all-time high. So that has a dramatic impact on people's day-to-day lives in Iran. So a lot of people who are against an escalation, they have economic reasons why they would be against it. But again, so this is just not a scientific poll. This is just an online poll that you cannot trust, especially given that the community is very biased. But let me get some information, show you some things from Iran. So you can see these days a lot of graffitis in Iran. People are drawing, writing stuff on walls. And this one in Iran, it says, hit them, Israel. Iranians are behind you. Hashtag Israel Bizan, which means Israel strike. So there's more graffitis from inside Iran. This one says, Israel Beit Bizan, which means Israel hit the residency and the office of the supreme leader. So there's the supreme leader, the place that he lives and the place that his office is the same place. It's kind of like the White House of Iran, which is called Beit Rahbari. And this graffiti in Iran is asking Israel to target the Beit Rahbari, which is the office and the residency of the supreme leader, right? So here's another graffiti in Iran, say hashtag Israel Bazan, which is hashtag Israel strike. And then it says under it, اینا دستاشون جفت پوچه دارن خالی بازی میکنن. So this is, I think, a poker reference. So it's telling Israel that the regime has their hands are empty. It's like both of the cards that they have is empty. They have nothing. So they're playing with an empty hand. So just strike them. Be confident in responding to them. So these are messages that people are writing on walls in Iran to the Israeli government. They're asking Israel. These are the messages they're sending to Israel by writing it on walls, right? So let's look at another one. This is another graffiti in Iran saying, Israel bezan baghyesh ba ma kaf khiyabun. So this one is saying, Israel, strike them, and let the rest to us in the streets. So basically, this message is saying that if Israel strikes the regime, the Iranian people will come out and they will topple the government. Again, I'm not saying if this message is like that will happen. I'm just telling you what this message is saying. So this person is saying, leave the rest to the Iranian people. Israel, come strike the regime. If you hit the head, then the Iranian people leave the rest to us. We'll finish them in the streets. So these are some of the messages that you're seeing. But here's one of the best indicators of a lot of Iranians actually supporting the Israeli regime. Even we have a lot of evidence that Iranian people support the Israel. Like, we already have that. You have seen our evidence on the stream. But the specific thing that we are trying to see here is that if they would support Israel striking the Iranian regime. So here's the next thing I want to show you. This is, like, I think, the best indication that this is true. And again, after this, I will show you another thing, right? So this came out. This news came out while we were all waiting. After the news came out that there were drones leaving Iran heading for Israel. And the few first hours of the attack while Israel had not been hit yet, but the drones were in the way, because that took like 6 or 7 hours, if I remember correctly. Well, while those drones were happening, while the attack was taking place, this report came out, which says اطلاعات سپاه تهدید کرد با حمایت شهروندان از اسرائیل در فضای مجازی برخورد میکنند. Which means, this news report means, again, this is by Iran International, right? Which means that the IRGC, the intelligence arm of IRGC, right, which is basically the intelligence arm of the main military, the ideological military, the Islamic military unit in Iran, came out with a warning that the citizens who are supporting Israel on social media will be punished. So here's more detail. It says در پی واکنش‌های انتقادی به حمله به اسرائیل، سازمان اطلاعات سپاه پاسداران با صدور اطلاعیه‌ای خواستار آن شد که شهروندان در صورت مشاهده هر گونه فعالیتی در فضای مجازی برای حمایت از اسرائیل، اطلاعات و مشخصات صفحه و گردانندگان آن را ارسال کنند تا با آنها به عنوان مجرم برخورد کنند. Right? The translation here is probably not very accurate, but I will put the translation just in case you think I'm making all of this stuff up, so you can see that the accurate translation that I'm about to give you is somewhat close to what Google Translate is giving you here, right? So what it's saying is that this is at the moment that the Iranian regime was attacking Israel. While that was happening, a lot of people, Iranians, were criticizing their own regime for attacking Israel. And while that was happening, the intelligence agency of the IRGC came out and issued a statement. And in that statement, they asked for citizens to observe social media and report the people who are supporting Israel while those attacks are taking place. And to give the intelligence agency, their pages and the name of the users of those pages. So I think this is I could show you so many examples of people, of Iranians. I mean, if you're looking for an Iranian who supports Israel striking the Islamic Republic, hello, I'm here. Here's one of them. So we do exist. But if you want to see how widespread this was, you could see this as a confirmation. It was so widespread that the intelligence agency in Iran had to issue a warning and ask for information for all the people who were supporting Israel while the Iranian regime was attacking Israel. I don't think you get this is a confirmation by the Iranian regime itself that this was widespread enough that they had to crack down on it in the middle of them attacking Israel. I don't think there's any better indication of how widespread this was. Right? This is what you come here for. Another thing that was interesting is the number of Iranian people that came and responded to a tweet by Cenk, because Cenk, after Piers Morgan posted the video of this talk on Twitter, right? Cenk came out and made fun of Emily and saying, watch this neocon. So Cenk is posting this referring to Emily, saying, watch this neocon claim the people of Iran want to be bombed by Israel. Again, the people of Iran don't want to be bombed. The people of Iran want Israel to bomb their regime, not themselves. You freaking moron. You still, hours after the show, he still doesn't understand it. You're an absolute buffoon. Okay, so it continues. It was impossible not to laugh out loud. She then conflated their dissatisfaction with the Iranian regime with wanting to be bombed. Are the Israelis and US going to be greeted as liberators? Sounds familiar. Well, they should be actually here if they wanted to help the Iranian people, but unfortunately, they're not. But look, and Emily responded, hey, Cenk, try reading your comments, because in the comments, Cenk was flooded. Me included here, by the way, flooded with Iranians who were supporting Israel and saying, yes, Emily is correct. He was ratioed. And also, by the way, they posted their own polls showing that most Iranians on Twitter were supporting Israel. Look, This is 93% supporting Israel here. Okay, and oh my God! So this is a poll. As it says, as an Iranian, are you prepared to contribute towards the cost of the missiles and ammunition used if Israel targets high-ranking terrorists within Iran? Okay, so these are not scientific polls, but you can see a lot of people Iranians who support, who follow this Iranian Twitter account. They're not saying, a lot of them are not saying that they're not only supporting Israel attacking the regime, they're willing to pay for it as well. But anyways, I noticed this is a very famous Iranian account. A lot of Iranians were flooded. Just go look at the comments yourself, because it was it goes forever with Iranians telling Cenk to shut the hell up. He doesn't speak for Iranian people. And yes, many, not all, but many Iranian people would love for Israel to attack their regime. Let me see. Okay, let's continue with this video. But let me see. Okay, we got 2 super chats. One by Terrell saying, I meant if RP became king, he would have reformed. Yes, I agree with that. Yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Razel, thank you for the super chat saying, Armin, which Iranian flag do you prefer to use? The Shiro Khorshid, the one with the, that's the only Iranian flag. There is, which Iranian flag? Razel, there is only one Iranian flag. The flag that you currently people think is the Iranian flag, that's not the Iranian flag. That is the Islamic Republic's flag. The only Iranian flag that there is, that there ever will be, is the Shiro Khorshid one, the one with the lion and the sun. All right, let's continue.
The morality police. As the Crown Prince mentioned, there is a second front of this war, and it is against the Iranian people internally. Is that funny to you?
Let me
Is it funny to you that women are being kidnapped by the regime?
Of the time? Is she
Yeah. If you laugh over her, she gets to talk over you. You did that. You started that, so it's completely fair.
Just going to talk 90% of the time. I can do that, too. All right,
is that funny to you?
Let me just respond real quick.
Do you find it funny that women, that Iranians are being oppressed?
Can I respond? All right, whatever.
No, so yeah, you're frustrated. You deserve that. When you laugh, when she's giving you facts and you laugh over her, okay, because you're an ignorant, you are a buffoon, you don't understand anything, you laugh in her face, then good job, Emily. Good job frustrating this idiot. I'm happy that you made him frustrated. He deserved it.
Okay, you can talk all day long. We're not going to. All right. So, listen, the Iranian regime is terrible. I don't want Muslim fundamentalists in charge of Iran, and the people of Iran don't want Muslim fundamentalists in charge of Iran. So saying that they're against the regime is obvious. That's not the point. The question is, what are you going to do about it? If you said, hey, there's an internal revolution, and they're disgusted by the way that the Iranian regime is treating women or its own citizens and not giving them freedom, I totally agree. But if you claim that they want Israel to bomb Iran in order to effectuate regime change, it's not even, you don't even sound like a lunatic. You sound like you're a comic or something. You're trying to make.
She's telling the truth. You're the lunatic here. You're the lunatic. She's telling the truth. There's many Iranian people who want that. I just showed you. There are many Iranian people who are asking for that. They're shouting for it in the streets. When Mossad killed Fakhrizadeh, which is the Iranian nuclear scientist, there was people came out and put signs in Tehran saying, thank you, Mossad. The Iranian people were thanking Mossad for killing their nuclear scientist. So you don't know these things, Cenk. She's right. You're the lunatic.
A joke. That's why I'm laughing. No, the Iranian people do not want to be bombed.
Let me bring in Joe.
But further,
they don't want to be bombed by Israel. They want Israel to bomb the regime.
All right, let me bring in Joe. Joe's been waiting very patiently. Joe, here's my question.
All right, I don't want to play this part. Let me go to 26. Let me see if I want to play this part or not. I'm running late a little bit for the next show. Hold on.
Less likely. Obviously, it makes it less likely because it allows the regime.
All right, so I'm not going to do the rest of this. I just wanted to show you how big of an idiot this person is. Let me know if you want me to do more streams like this. Guys, I'm gonna go get ready for the Persian show. If you speak Persian, the name of the channel is Jomhuriye Bi Khodayan. A lot of Iranians there are gonna come watch the. I'm gonna be doing the first part of this show, guys. Before you leave, like the stream. Once the stream is over, leave a comment. I need your comments and your likes for this channel to grow. Make sure you're subscribed to Atheist Republic's YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Twitter, wow, a lot of 400 people are watching this on Twitter. Come over to the YouTube side, Atheist Republic on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the bell notification. The bell notification is important because if you're subscribed and you haven't hit the bell notification, YouTube a lot of times don't tell you that we're live. But you see this first part where Piers Morgan is talking to Reza Pahlavi. This is the Crown Prince. On the Persian show, I'm going to be reviewing that part, this first 11 minutes of the show. Okay, because that's going to get a lot of you guys don't know who Reza Pahlavi is. That's why I didn't review it on the English channel, because that's not going to be interesting to a lot of you guys. But this part is going to be the most interesting part for the Persian channel. That's why I'm leaving this part for the Persian channel. Anyways, guys, if you get people to come talk to me, okay, and these people don't understand what they're talking about. Like a lot of people, like I have such high level of detailed information that I think it's actually one of the most. Like when it comes to Iranian politics, when it comes among English-speaking media, I think I spent so much time, talking to activists, studying Iranian politics, following the news within Iran itself on a day-to-day basis. When it comes to English-speaking media, I think I have one of the highest level of detailed information here. So if people don't understand Iranian politics, they should just come here and talk to me and ask me some questions. Like get me on shows. Like tell people to come invite me to their shows. Like that would be a good marketing for the Atheist Republic channel. Also you could contact me if anybody wants to do collab or debate or anything like that. Contact me on Twitter. My DMs are open. You could just find me on Twitter, Armin Navabi. My DMs are open there. So yeah, invite me on your show. Again, it has to be a show that it would be helpful for Atheist Republic or something. But other than that, leave a comment, like and subscribe, and do all of that. And thank you to all the people who gave us super chats. Thank you so much. Oh, let me see actually if we manage to go all the way. I will read that super chat, but before reading it, let me see if we're still monetized, because that would be insane. We're still monetized. How is this possible? We have never had this before. We're like 1 hour 40 minutes in, and we're still. What did I do today that we're being so blessed with the YouTube gods? This has never happened. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep talking like I have talked today, because that seemed to be working. But I also appreciate the super chats. Unicorn saying, "Thanks, Armin. Appreciate your voice." Well, thank you for the support. That's very encouraging to hear. All right, guys, I'm going to head out, getting ready for the Persian show. I already went over time today. But see you. Make sure you subscribe, like, and all of that. You know what to do. Do all of those things. That is good. Oh, and also to go tell your friends and your enemies to come and subscribe to the Atheist Republic YouTube channel. Okay? Bye, guys. Anything else? No. Till the next show. Bye.